mindset. So yeah, exciting topic. I can guarantee you this video will not go viral, but my hope is that it gets in front of a couple people that this is applicable for, and that it's able to provide you a lot of value. Because I was what sort of sparked this idea was I was talking with a student of mine, who's actually become a pretty good friend of mine at this point, and we're just thinking about like sort of our friends, our old friends, things we used to do in the past, and just sort of how we've changed as people since we started to become more successful with business, and we sort of came to the same conclusion, which is to be successful, you have to cut out a lot of stuff, but it's not for the reason most people think. So most people, when they think about sort of cutting things out, what they're thinking about is, well, I just need to put all my time into the business. But the truth is, well, yes, you do need to put a lot of time and a lot of effort into the business. The main thing that's going to actually cause issues when you have all these fun things going on is just the effect on your brain's chemicals. So early on in business, where you're at is you're in this really high friction period, right? So you're doing a lot of things. You feel stupid. You're competing against people who you feel like are better than you. You're putting in a ton of effort, and you're seeing very, very, very little return with no guarantee of when or if you will see a return. Now, one thing I'll remind you is that if you continue to do it and you just continue to do the inputs, like eventually something's going to come out of it. It's just I have never seen anybody consistently do the work, motivated, focused, right, doing the right inputs for 6 months and not get traction, right? I've never seen that happen. But the hard part is you don't know when you get the breakthrough, and you just have to keep doing those inputs. And so compare that, right? That sort of monotonous grind, feeling dumb, feeling stupid, and you're seeing all your other friends, make progress in college or getting their first job or whatever, right? You're probably making less than them in the beginning, right? And you're doing way more work, and it's a lot more tiring. And every day you're exhausted, right? You then compare that with the other activities you're doing, right? So if your friends go to concerts, go grab food in the evenings, right? Go cliff jumping with your buddies. All that stuff is awesome, and I love all of that stuff. But early on, those things are very fun, right? And the problem is when you compare and contrast something like that to something like the monotonous grind of work, how fun does work seem? Relative, right? Now, once you start to get traction with your business, right? You get the watches, you get the cars, right? You're able to get the new iPhone, new iPad, new MacBook, travel whenever you want. That stuff's sick, right? And it suddenly becomes more motivational because you see the return for your inputs. But that's also why most businesses fail early. It's because they're hard early on, right? And you don't see that return. And so what happens to your brain when you're used to all these fun activities and spending time with your buddies and spending time with your friends, and then you look at the grind of work, is like it becomes so much less appealing. And so what a lot of people will say is like, well, you need to be able to have the discipline to keep going, which is true. You do need discipline, right? But have you ever seen someone excel just exponentially at something without passion? I haven't, right? You don't see someone go to the NBA when they've always hated playing basketball. You don't see someone become ultra successful if they don't, love doing their business. They're not competitive, right? You don't see someone get in incredible shape if they don't enjoy going to the gym, right? Now, you can get in decent shape. You can get all right at basketball. You can do okay in business if you don't enjoy any of them, right? But you're never going to excel. And especially early on, right, when all the odds are stacked against you, you need every sort of ounce of advantage you can get, right? Especially when you have all these unknowns of when you're going to break through. You have to enjoy the work. And so where removing things becomes really valuable is not in the time you get back, like that's helpful too, but it's in making the work the exciting part for you, the exciting and fun part of your day, right? Compared to all the other fun things you can be doing with your friends, going out, partying, having a good time, it sounds boring, but if you sit alone in a room, right, you have literally nothing else you can do, right? All you have is a phone. You're not allowed to go on the phone and watch TV, watch YouTube, whatever. All you can do is cold call, right? It may not seem fun at first, but as the hours go by and you have nothing else going on, your brain's going to crave stimulation. And, well, you have one thing you can do to be mentally stimulated, and that's cold calling, right? And so you kind of remove all these other things. You make your life as boring as possible, right? It sounds sexy. Yeah, I know. It doesn't, right? It sounds super boring, which it is. But what you do is, by contrast, you're taking this sort of hyper spike of excitement, fun, and sort of mental stimulation where work seems boring, and you lower the rest of your life to pretty boring, right? Pretty baseline. So suddenly work is the exciting part. It's the motivating part. It's the fun part. And that motivates you to do more of it. And it motivates you to pay more attention to it and get more excited by it. And that's going to be what gives you that sort of competitive edge and the ability to keep pushing, right? And really do the inputs, but do the inputs with the right energy and the right intention, right? Not just going through the motions. That's going to be what ends up making you successful. Because if you have that competitive edge, you have that motivation, you're going to beat the person that's just going through the motions every single time. And the cool part is a lot of business owners, kind of get stagnant, right? And the advantage you have as a beginner is you're a lot more mobile, you're a lot more agile, and you can go a lot harder, right? You have less to lose. And so, my advice to anybody who's early in business or they've been struggling for a while to get the traction they want is remove a lot of the other things from your life, right? Remove a lot of the fun things that you enjoy and you derive pleasure from, right? Make business the exciting thing. And that can change in the future, right? Now I spend time with my friends, and I also am more motivated by the output my business gives me, which is making money and being successful, right? But early on, when you're going through that grind phase, something needs to change or else nothing is going to change for you, right? And that something is generally removing the fun, exciting, dopamine stimulating things from your life and just putting all of that energy and all of that focus into the business, making the business fun, making the business exciting. And that's how you start to see the traction and see the success. So I know that's not the most exciting video, and it's not the most exciting topic, and it's not the most exciting prospect, but what is exciting is the outcome you can get from your business doing well and applying this. So trust me, if you've been stagnant and you haven't seen the growth you want to, remove a lot of those other things from your life that draw your attention and draw your excitement and spike your dopamine, right? Make the rest of your life boring, and you'll put more than you ever have before into the business, and it's going to get you more than you've ever gotten. So I hope this was helpful. Hope this was valuable. And yeah, see you guys in the next one. Peace.